Hello there. I am a music teacher and a choir director, and I would love to help you read and follow a choral score. So I'm going to start out with some basics and start out with a unison score and then move into scores that have more than one part. So I'm going to take this piece right here, and I'm going to show you some things that are on the paper that I think you should pay attention to, and ignore all of my score analysis and my handwriting on the paper. So if you look right here, there's this curly thing right here, and that is the piano bracket. And inside of the piano bracket, you will always find two staves. More than one staff, we say staves. And the reason why there are two is because we have a right hand and a left hand. So the right hand reads the top, the left hand reads the bottom, and they are connected on the side. We call this a grand staff. And the reason why they're connected is both happen at the same time. Okay, so when you're reading, you go like this. It's just some other basics that are on your staff. This is a bar line. And if we're on a line that only has one staff, this is the bar line. And the space between the two bar lines is called a measure. Okay? Now, when you get down here, you're going to see something different. You're going to see something added. This is the piano bracket again. This is the vocal bracket. A vocal bracket is a straight bracket on the side. You can see how different it is. And then you're going to see a line that connects the vocal bracket to the piano bracket. And the reason why they are connected is because now the accompaniment, the piano music and the vocal music are going to happen at the same time. So this all lines up together. So this part right here is in unison. You only see one staff and there's only one set of note. There aren't any double kind of note heads. So this piece is in unison, but it needs a separate vocal line. So if I was going to follow this staff, this paper, and follow my score, obviously I can watch this part with my eyes, but I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm not going to sing until this part happens here. So I follow here, and then I skip the piano music and I go down to the next vocal line. So unison music is really quite simple to follow. All you have to do is follow what's in the vocal bracket and sing. Okay, now at the end of this piece, this splits into two parts. Okay, and how do I know that? I can see right here that the vocal bracket has gotten bigger. And there's a part on top, part 1 and part 2. Okay, so if you're a part 1 singer, you always follow the top staff inside of each system. This big thing is the system. The system is the vocal music and the piano music attached together. So if I was a part 1 singer, I would read the top staff. I would not go down here because that would make me do part 1 and then go to part 2. Or if you are a soprano and alto, you might go soprano to alto. You wouldn't read it that way. So you read the top staff. When you get to the end, skip everything that's underneath and go down to the next system right here. And then you read the top. Skip everything underneath, go down to the next system and read the top. So I'll show you once again. If you are a part 1 singer or a soprano who is on the top, you read top, top, top inside of each system. If you are a part 2 singer and you are an alto, you would read the bottom, bottom, bottom. Don't worry about those repeat signs. Okay, I just want to show you how to follow a score. Okay, well, when the parts are like this and each line, each part has their own staff, we call that an open score. Okay, that's where everybody has their own part. Okay, I'm going to move on to a different score right now. Here's another one that is a 2-part score. Okay, so you can see again, this starts out with a curly bracket, which is the piano music. Most of our choral music that is accompanied starts with a piano introduction. Okay, so then we have part 1 and 2. You can see that this is a system. Part 1 is on the top. Go to the next system, read part 1, and you would do that through the whole piece. If you were on part 2, you would read the bottom, and so on. Okay, you can tell again that this is an open score because each part has their own staff. I want to show you some other things you might notice that happen in a piece. So if you look here, yes, we're in two parts, but bottom part, part two, splits. Can you see how there are two notes on top of each other? Okay, so if you were going to do this piece, since it's treble clef, this would be soprano on top, alto on the bottom. But then you can split your altos, and alto 1 would go on top and alto 2 goes on the bottom. So all your 1s are on top and all your 2s are on the bottom. Here is a 4-part score. Okay, once again, it starts out with piano music, but there's something on top here that hasn't begun, okay? And that is the vocal line. So it's letting you know, I mean, they could have just left that off and brought in the vocal line here. And it's only one staff inside, and it says sopranos and altos in unison. So since they're in unison, it's all on one staff, okay? But then you will notice that it breaks up into 2 parts. We just add a staff inside of the vocal bracket. The vocal bracket goes from being small to being larger. And now we have soprano and alto. So if you're a soprano, you read the top, alto, you read the bottom. But then you will notice if we go down here, it goes into SATB. So sopranos are on top if you're a soprano, alto is second, tenor is third, and bass is on the bottom. So let's just for fun read it if you were a tenor. So you would read this line, you would run out, you would go to the next system, and you would read this line, and you would go to the next system and read the 3rd line down. You will notice that some splits happen in this part as well. If you look right here on the soprano line, you have 2 sets of notes. So your soprano 1s are on top and your soprano 2s are on the bottom. And then it continues through that score. And then you can get into more advanced score reading where you can see that, let me pull up a good example here. I mean, this really gets into more advanced reading. So you can actually have, look at how big this system is. Okay, you can tell it's one system because it has this one line continuing. This is for a piece for double choir. So that means you can have 2 choirs in one soprano, alto, tenor, bass choir, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and another soprano, alto, tenor, bass choir. So you can split your sopranos and have it like this, sopranos and then altos and tenor and bass. That's for more advanced reading. So I hope that will give you some ideas of how to follow a choral score, and pop some questions below if you have any.